So I'm going to try to get some of the maintenance done today outdoors because, as you know, I don't have a garage, and guys, it's full of projects, so there's no room at the inn. I thought while I was doing the maintenance today, I could take a few minutes to do a little channel talk.
One of the longest standing questions I've had over the last 4 years. If I've got it once, I've had it 100 times. GP, how long does it take to remove that blower and the subframe off of the tractor? I've never been able to answer it because I've always filmed it. Today, 8 minutes and 56 seconds, and I wasn't rushing. I went in the cabin, started the timer, walked back out to the shed, brought the tractor around, dropped it on the pallet, took everything off, shut the tractor off, went back inside and pushed the timer. However, I'm not too happy about this. Something's leaking. For those that are new to the channel, if you were looking forward to seeing me remove it, I apologize. I didn't film it because I've done it so many times, both with the old B2782 blower off of my B2601, as well as probably 6-7 times over the last couple of years, you've seen me remove that 2980 and install it on the LX2610. If you are interested, just take a look back at the channel. I didn't want to film it again because you guys have seen it so many times, and I don't like creating content just for the sake of creating content. Plus, it's been negative 12 all morning. A lot of folks have been asking me for a while what kind of fuel consumption or mileage I get off of this tractor. So I started keeping track about a year ago, January. That would have been January of 2021. And between that rest of the winter and this winter so far, I average about 11 to 12 hours roughly on a tank. And in the summertime, I average about 15 to 17 hours on a tank. However, I think it's important to keep in mind, I don't ever run the tank dry or down to the bare bones. I usually end up filling up when there's 1 or 2 bars left on the digital readout. There are 7 bars in total, and I very seldom ever get down to, a flashing light saying I need gas or diesel. I usually, when it's got 1 or 2 bars left, that's when I'll fill it up. But that's what I've been averaging summer and winter as far as hours of operation on the tank. And yes, I absolutely have always used a diesel conditioner in the wintertime. Right from the first day I had my B2601, a lot of you have asked me what I use. And again, I'm not doing an infomercial. I'm not getting paid. I'm just telling you this is what I use. It's a conditioner, oddly enough, called diesel conditioner. I got it from my Kubota dealer. It's made by Clean Flow. You need just the tiniest amount, like literally 12 milliliters. That's it. I've had this for 4.5 years since I got my B2601, and it's still almost full. But all you have to do is put about 12 milliliters into each tank. I've never once had a fuel issue or a gelling issue. And I know some of you are going to say, well, I get my diesel at my local gas station. They have winter diesel. They do here too, but I still put this in. I don't know what's in it, and I don't know if it's that consistent as to what it is they do get in and when they get their delivery. So I just figure it's always best to be safe. And of course, I'm super thankful to my neighbor Guy who lets me fill up from his big tank here. Saves a long trip into the nearest town.
First thing I wanted to talk about is you've probably noticed usually at this time of the year, as is the case again this year, I don't have a lot of content during these 3, 4, 5 weeks. And this is that ugly season I told you about. It's that 4 or 5 weeks at the beginning of spring where we're going through that winter thaw. The weather is terribly unpredictable. Yesterday when I started doing the blower, it was supposed to be 6 degrees and sunny out. Ended up a high of negative 12. And today, I know I needed to get this maintenance done. It was supposed to be 8 degrees out and sunny. And as I'm doing this maintenance, the highest temperature was 0 or freezing here. You've got a lot of mud. The thaw is continuing. There's still way too much snow in the forest, despite the melt so far, to be able to get back there and start bucking logs. And even the log pile, as you folks have seen in other videos, is still well snowed in. So we're a little ways off from doing anything. Not enough snow to blow, And this time of the year, I usually do a lot of my indoor chores or just menial chores around the property, which I don't think you folks really want to see or would be interested in. And during this period, provides me an opportunity to get out some videos to answer some of those questions or to focus on different aspects. And a lot of these videos, as you've noticed, are a lot shorter. Short videos also give me an opportunity to practice new skills that I'm learning in the software. For those of you that have been with me for a while, you know that I don't have a background in video or marketing. I've been learning as I go along, and I still to this day, every once in a while, try to take time out to learn new functionality or new effects or transitions in the software to try to improve the quality of the videos. Way back, I would try attempting to practice these new things in a video I was creating for you folks, 12, 20 minutes long. And the challenge is I make a lot of mistakes, and it's a lot easier making a mistake in a 3 or 4 minute video and then deleting it and dumping the footage again than it is to try to go back and recreate another 20-minute video and try to practice it. So that's kind of the benefit of short videos for me. Gets to the point, gets some messages out, but it also gives me that opportunity to try to improve on the things that I'm learning in the software. The squirrel video, for example, that actually wasn't filmed for you good folks. I actually did it for my daughters. They love seeing stuff going on with animals, whether it's up at the cottage or down in the city. If I had been planning to do it for YouTube, I would have set up at least 2 different cameras that morning. But while I was working on it and putting it together for them, it kind of dawned on me it was a great opportunity to try a new feature I was practicing or learning. And so I thought I'd throw it out to you because I thought you might find it humorous. But that kind of explains the short videos you're seeing lately, I hope. Looking forward to this season coming. I've already got 4 new pieces of equipment or mods for the tractor on their way or agreed to, and I've got 2 other ones still in discussion. So it's going to be an interesting year. I've got some really great equipment coming, and I'm pretty pumped about the first one especially, which should be here pretty soon, and you'll be seeing it shortly on the channel. This year, I've got to get the shed done for sure, regardless of what happens to wood prices. It's been driving me crazy. And in addition to that, just the regular chores are the things I do outside as I do every year. I would like to put a little more focus on the trails in the forest on my own property this summer, so I'm looking forward to that. I started looking into a landscape rake, but boy, those things are expensive, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be picking one up or not. But other than that, it's just going to be status quo, a bunch of good friends getting together, working outdoors and enjoying our company, and getting some jobs done and getting the firewood shed filled. One topic I did want to expand on a little bit today, just to fill you folks in, and those that are curious as to why I put the poll out on my channel about 2 weeks ago asking if you folks watch podcasts or not. And so far, the response is about 600 people, and it's about a 50-50 split. I started thinking about a podcast as a natural extension to the YouTube channel sometime around mid to late last year. And I've been working on it on and off when I've had time to try to build out what I think a podcast could look like or the format of that. I've also been really, really grateful for my brother, who's also my best friend. Not only is he older, but he's a whole lot smarter than I am, so he's been a great companion or friend to be able to bounce ideas off as I slowly try to form or format what a podcast might look like. To kind of take it one step further for you in the work that I've done so far, at first, initially, I thought the podcast would be a natural extension to the channel itself. It would be outdoors based, tractors, chainsaws, and the like. You can do an audio-video podcast, but I think, at least to this point so far, I'm fixed that it will be an audio podcast only if I choose to go forward with this endeavor. I think most people listen to podcasts when you're in the car driving to work or home or up to the cabin for a few hours or in your downtime when you just want to sit back, close your eyes, and listen to something that, might be entertaining. As my brother and I kind of worked through what that format might look like, it didn't take too long before I kind of realized that it didn't make sense to do an outdoors podcast because I already have the outdoor channel. And in essence, I couldn't think of anything different that I would talk about on a podcast that I'm not already doing in the channel. And I think from a value perspective or entertainment for you good folks, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I don't think it would be of much value if you watched my YouTube videos and then 2 weeks later you heard me basically repeat what I just showed you on YouTube 2 or 3 weeks earlier. I don't think that there would be any topics or any items that I wouldn't cover on the channel, and therefore the podcast would be kind of redundant, and I don't think would really be of any interest to people to have to listen to the same thing twice, just in an audio format without any visuals. So we eventually realized that that's not going to fly. The attraction of the podcast and being a natural extension of the work I already do with the YouTube channel is because I have all of the equipment I need. I don't have to make any more expenses or any more capital investments. I have everything. The only thing it would cost me is about $15 to $20 a month for a hosting platform, and that's it. So extending into and doing a podcast from a financial perspective is a no-brainer. It's just an extension of the money I've already spent, which from a business perspective makes a lot of sense because I've already invested all this money and I use it for YouTube. I would just extend it through to a podcast. But here's where I've come to date over the last number of months in the work that I've done. I've come up with a new format, which I think might be of interest. And the format that I've kind of landed on for now is a podcast that talks about or is focused on my generation and the generation before me. The demographics that I get from a YouTube channel tells me that a very, very high percentage of you good viewers are either in my generation or age group or older than I am. And it's a very, very heavily weighted percentage. So the idea or the format of the podcast is to circle or focus around items or ideas or principles or values or things that we grew up believing that may or may not hold water anymore. The focus is to kind of be thought-provoking, to kind of throw out an idea that challenges the status quo that we were all raised on in different areas and force you to think about them. Maybe ignite some passion. It's not a podcast where I expect everybody's going to agree with or believe that what I'm saying or I'm positing out on each episode is correct. It's just like on the YouTube channel, you can agree respectfully or disagree respectfully. We all have our own opinions and our own views on things. But if I can touch on topics that make you want to think or spark further thought or consideration over things that we've just kind of lived with, raised on, and continue to believe today, I think that might be of some value. As it stands right now, I've already outlined all of the episodes for a season 1 podcast. I haven't gone into the detail of each, but I have a large or high level outline, a format or a purpose for that podcast, and I have all of the topics for an entire first season already outlined. And I've been bouncing them, of course, as I mentioned, off of my brother, and he's been very invaluable to helping me kind of format or focus those topics. So as usual, I'd love to hear any comments or feedback you have on this idea of expanding into a podcast, kind of with that structure, that format. With respect to the oil leak, just so you good folks know, it turned out it was leaking from the hydraulic filter, the first one you saw me remove. That's where the leak was coming in the garage. Guy told me that sometimes in severely cold weather, the rubber ring will sometimes contract or crack or possibly create a leak. I hope you enjoyed sticking around with me. Have a wonderful week with your families. Please be kind to each other, and I'll see you again right here on GP Outdoors. Cheers.